Welcome to the IVM Podcast Network. Hi, this is Amit Doshi, and I wanted to thank each and every one of our listeners. It's been 2 years since I founded IVM, and it's been an amazing 2 years. We wanted to learn a little bit more about who is listening to our shows, and so we put together a short survey. The survey is anonymous, and we aren't going to be collecting any personal information. I would really appreciate it if you could take a couple of minutes out of your day and go to ivmpodcast.com/survey and fill it out. Thanks, and please keep listening.
Hey, you're listening to IVM Likes. I'm Mae, and we have in the studio Sharanya and Abbas. Hi, guys.
Hi.
And as usual, we're recommending a film, a TV show, and a book. So today, I'm starting off with a TV show I'd like to recommend,
Yay!
which weirdly enough came recommended by Sharanya. Because it's not quite incestuous. Yeah, like,
I just want to keep sharing my recommendations.
I know, and you're a TV fiend, man. So, I actually genuinely, as your recommendations now become my recommendation, it's a TV show called Fleabag. It's up by the BBC and Amazon. It's a 6-episode series written and stars a woman called Phoebe Waller-Bridge. And the show is actually originally adapted from this one-woman play, which is called the same thing and actually won a Edinburgh Fringe Festival Award. Now, the story is about a 20-something woman, and she's sort of getting to grips with her life after a tragedy that happened to her. And it's hilarious, but supremely dark at the same time. I remember in the first half hour, you literally see her rolling her eyes through anal sex and then masturbating to Barack Obama, which leads to her breaking up with her boyfriend. So it's like the first half hour of the show. Yeah. And the thing is, there's a running commentary because she breaks the fourth wall, right?
All the time.
So there's constant running commentary of everything that's going on, from this dude with buck teeth that she meets on a bus, to her family, to her friends. And you see her during this short period, the 6-episode series, it's this one period in her life. And you see all her relationships, whether it's with herself, her best friend, her family, her sister, boyfriend, guys that are, potential suitors, all that kind of thing. And also her work and this cafe and how she's broke all the time. And one of the things that I really genuinely liked about this is it's really gripping. I feel like I'm laughing and crying all at the same time.
Did you expect it to be dark though? Because I didn't realize it was going to be dark after till the first 3 episodes. And then it suddenly makes a turn, and it's the 3 episodes were fun. The last 3 episodes are holy shit, what's happening?
Because even I've seen only the first 3 episodes, so I don't have any idea what the darkness is.
Wow. Okay, so the thing is, the comedy, it's black comedy anyway.
Yeah.
The way it sort of runs, it's her humor is really dark. But the actual series and what goes on and the twist at the end,
Stop it.
I'm not going to mention what happens at the end.
I've only seen the first 3 episodes.
It's a twist. There's a twist. Okay,
you should watch it now.
End.
Just watch it now.
You're allowed. I'm allowed to say twisty end without any spoilers, but. Because the show, like I said, is really dark, and it takes you to all kinds of places in this woman's mind and in her life. And it's kind of awesome because I saw a quote from the lead character, who is the one who wrote it, this woman called Phoebe. She actually says, "I can't believe they let me do this." And everything else from her sister Claire to Boo to all of the actors in this TV series are also brilliant, besides Phoebe herself. So I would definitely recommend watching Fleabag. I know you've only seen 3 episodes.
Yes.
Watch the rest. It's just 3 more.
Yeah.
Trees. And it's 6 episodes.
Yeah,
I finished it in barely a day or
and
2,
it's
man.
available on Amazon Prime now, so
it is.
Easy to watch.
Awesome. Okay, so the next recommendation is a film from Abbas.
Anybody who knows me knows that I'm a diehard Star Wars fanatic.
Nobody knows you.
I can't tell.
I'm wearing a Star Wars
t-shirt right now.
Right now. So the film I'm going to recommend is not Star Wars, because everybody apart from Sharanya has seen that.
Hey, update coming up, guys.
It's a documentary from 2010 called The People vs. George Lucas. It's a documentary about the relationship that George Lucas has with the fandom. Basically what...
and this is not to do with Star Wars at all?
It does.
As you know, I love Star Wars, but I'm going to recommend something else now. Completely different. Out of my game.
Totally out of my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
It's what I love about the film is it's about the relationship between the creator and the fandom. And Star Wars is a great example of how the fandom has literally grabbed the creation from the creator's hands. So how the film breaks down is that the first half pretty much deals with how your average biographical documentary deals. They introduce you to who George Lucas is, what happened, how he made the original trilogy of films, the impact they had. They interview the who's who of science fiction and fantasy and art direction and screenwriting, the impact that Star Wars had on their lives. And then midway through, they take you to this time where George Lucas wrote the prequel series. Now, the prequels are universally regarded as not as good or as well made as the original films. But the film tries to go behind the moral decisions that George Lucas took in the prequel series. They were tonally different. The characters made choices which were not in keeping with what the world of Star Wars was. And the pivotal moment came when George Lucas released the remastered versions of the original films, where he inserted things, took out lines, re-edited footage to make it seem like a goody two shoes kind of a film. And these people who've been regarding George Lucas as this godlike figure in the first half of the movie completely turn on him and go like, George Lucas broke our hearts. It was like our Vietnam. This is the word. Star Wars prequels were our Vietnam. And so it just, the transition from the love, from the extremely adoring nature of the fans to being someone who don't want to see George Lucas. They just don't want to do anything.
That's awesome.
As a guy who... And
he built multiple monsters, guys.
There's this one point where in 1999 when Phantom Menace came out, the director actually, he records all the people before they go into the cinema. They're like, we're so excited for this, we can't wait for it. And then he films them watching the movie, and the people come out, the same people are like, I didn't expect it to suck. Like at one point it just started sucking and we couldn't believe it. We all watched it twice just to believe just how bad it was.
Oh no.
Oh my God, that's
So
sad.
the whole, and then in the end, the ending of the movie is like, it's an open interpretation to the audience that this is the man who gave you your favorite movies, and then he made these other movies which might not have been as great, but does that mean you completely
Does he have a
diss him?
responsibility to the fans, or does he
Does
just
he
have
not?
responsibility to what he created himself?
Yes.
Yeah.
Interestingly, this movie was, of course, came out before Lucas sold the rights to Disney and the new films were made. So apparently, the director is making another a
Like a follow-up
potential
to the
sequel
documentary.
is in the works. So I'd like to see how that goes. But it's a great, even if you haven't seen Star Wars, it's a great case study in how the creator versus the fans.
Balance and
the clash happens. So the people versus George Lucas is my recommendation.
Sounds really good.
But it's also really interesting to like think about. You created something,
Right.
and people love it so much
Exactly.
that
They feel like they
kind
have-
of expectation.
They feel like they have a say over what should happen because they're the ones who
feel
made the
so
movie
in-
this big.
Yeah, you feel invested,
Yeah.
right, in some way. And I think in that sense, like when you are disappointed, it's horrific.
Yeah.
But then it's scary being the person that's created it. Be like,
Yeah.
bro,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
it's just
And you can't pander all the time to what the audience wants.
No, you
That's the
can't.
problem. Because so many people do that and then they get blamed for pandering. And that's
Yeah.
like,
It's
it's a thin line to walk.
Yeah, it's a very thin
So
line.
People versus George Lucas
Lucas.
is your film. Now we got Sharanya with her book recommendation.
Yep. I'm going to recommend a book called Mr. Penambra's 24-Hour Bookstore. It's a book from 2012 written by this guy called Robin Sloan. It's a really light, easy reading, but here's what makes it fascinating. But let me tell you about the plot first. It's a guy called Clay who's lost his job at a startup that basically has written up this algorithm that creates the perfect bagel every time. The startup is shut down. He's trying to find another job, and he ends up working at an old bookstore. He works the graveyard shift, so he starts to find, like, after a couple of months there, it really bores him. He feels like there are no customers who come in to buy these books because why would they when you can just read everything online? And he only sees some like really weird people coming in, and sometimes they never buy books, they just borrow some books. So he tries to track like what are these books they are buying, and when he opens them there's like no text, just sometimes like some weird code in it, some numerical things hidden. So he basically starts to get invested in this mystery that's happening at his workplace. So he starts using what he knows how to use best, technology. So he creates softwares and algorithms and writes up makes like a 3D projection map of the library. What are the books they are picking? What does this code mean? And just basically using all the tasks, all the skills that he has as a coder and a software programmer to crack a mystery that is basically happening in a bookstore. Something that he doesn't understand why it still functions. Of course, it's a really fun read because it goes on to basically find he accidentally runs into this 500-year-old secret society. There's a whole mystery element to it, which I won't tell you. But what it does, this book, is also raise questions about if you read a book on your Kindle, you're killing bookstores. You're not respecting what literature came from. But if you're reading actual books, this is the new age. Don't waste paper. It's always a fight between what is used to be, and I like the smell of the book, versus you're killing paper right now, you're killing trees right now, versus what technology can give you in terms of if you look at Google, or where you can find art from every museum online, you can find every book written, you can code anything. And what that means to actually finding knowledge by looking through books all the time. The book is kind of based in, like a Google backyard, where all of these softwares that the friends that he has, all of them kind of work at Google or do something in the software space, and they basically are trying to decode something that these old people are doing at the same time by using real books, while these guys are using technology to do it. And what matters more, is it the solution or how you came up with the solution? It is a really interesting book, and it's a really light read, surprisingly, because it's this author's first book. He used to work at Twitter, and he's also one of those software guys. And it's a really simple book, but it still raises some questions, which I think were very interesting to me, because as somebody who's switched to the Kindle and completely love it, and have successfully tried sometimes to convert some of my friends to move to ebooks. I find that the conversation is kind of similar to what I have with my friends who are no, I love my books so much. I mean, of course, the conversation is easy because it's always it's cheaper. You can read more books. But I wanted to find out, did you guys have the same kind of situation when, as book readers, to feel should I make the switch?
I still haven't made that switch. I'm old school. Yeah.
I'm somewhere in the middle, man. There is my mom's friend who gifted me a Kindle Fire some years ago, and I started using that all the time for all my books. But the thing was, and the value of that is so amazing, because in the middle of reading a book, I could pick out paragraphs and highlight them and save them for later if I want to read them again.
Look at meanings. For everything.
I've had moments where you're reading through a book. It always happens that there's a word that you don't understand. So even to look up the dictionary while you're on your Kindle, it's a really great value. But the thing is, I still have books in my house.
Of course.
I still, my mom still buys me books. People still buy me books. I still buy books if I go to a bookstore. It just ends up happening that books are still there in my life. I've got one little shelf next to my bed with 4 books I'm currently reading. But I find this really interesting. How ironic that he's a tech dude working at a bookstore, man. It's kind of funny. But what's it called again?
Mr. Panambra's 24-hour bookstore. There's a line in it where Mr. Panambra, the bookstore owner, asks him do you own a Kindle, when he goes to apply for the job, and he says he feels like a teenager where the principal is asking him if he has weed in his bag, because Mr. Panambra is such a purist about books. He just feels I kind of do, but I do have a lot of books, and I obviously always had paperbacks and read so many books. But I made the switch to Kindle, I think, 2 years ago, and it has absolutely changed my reading. I read so much more. Books are so much more easily available. Every time I see something that somebody recommends, a book or a review of a new book, it takes me 2 minutes to buy it, instead of worrying about, will I have the money? I have to go to a bookstore? It's none of that. It's literally, I download it on my Amazon. It's on my Kindle right now. I can start reading it. I find that it's made a habit I want easier to keep.
Yeah, right. No, I get that. Also, when you introduced the book, I thought you were talking about some South Indian uncle.
Yeah, even I did. I was
right?
When is Kerala going to be mentioned?
Chambram uncle.
Mr. Panambra's 24-hour bookstore by Robin Sloan.
Awesome. Okay, so that's your book recommendation. Like I said, the TV show that you should totally check out is Fleabag. The film that Abbas recommended was People versus George Lucas. And from you, Sharanya, it was... I'm not going to be able to say this.
I already said it. It's fine.
They're all right. I think you guys got that. Mr. Penambra subs.
24-hour bookstore.
There we go. Okay, we'll be right back after this break with our special segment area bit.
Who's ahead in the league and what's cooking off the pitch? We at TFG bring all that you need to know about Indian football. Discussions, debate, banter, in-depth analysis with a touch of fun and fandom. This is the TFG Indian Football Podcast and we're a daily show. So check us out on YouTube and various other podcasting apps like iTunes, Audioboom, SoundCloud, etc.
Hey, this is our special segment area thing. Which we don't have a name for. But we ask special questions to all of us. And I think this is inspired by a bit of news that you heard, right?
Right. There was news this week that some fans had re-edited Breaking Bad, the whole show of 62 episodes, to make it into a feature-length movie. A 2-hour movie from 62 episodes. And this is a very plot-heavy show and movie. But I feel personally that there's no way you can condense such a rich plot into a 2-hour feature. And the reviews are kind of similar. But I guess if you've never watched Breaking Bad, the TV show, and you do not have 62 hours to give up to a TV show, maybe the 2-hour segment works for you.
Could be like a sort of like your way into Breaking Bad. So our question for today is movies that we think would be great as TV shows or awful as TV shows. So I was thinking I wouldn't mind like an Ocean's 11 TV show. Plus, I get to see like Brad Pitt like in a TV show. And George
so we're
Clooney.
keeping the cast the same, is it?
Oh yeah, cast is
cast
totally
is
the
same.
same.
Not like a different cast for TV.
No.
okay.
Same cast, but just like a storyline.
I'm
that
sure
would be-
all of them have free time to do this TV show.
Of course, they have free time, man. When they decide during their retirement years.
I think something that would really work also as a TV show is the Harry Potter series, because you can show so much more history.
Oh, you know what? That's really good.
Yes.
And I would not mind it if there were other actors.
You wouldn't
Okay,
mind?
you're pitching a reboot
I'm-
to
oh.
Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
A
Journalists
TV show
do
that
this.
doesn't need Daniel Radcliffe anymore because
yeah.
he's too old. And I want
That's
Emma
true.
Watson to have her own life. I really can't. I just don't want to stop.
I think I agree with you. Harry Potter would have been way better as a TV series because it's like, you know, chapter by chapter you're getting to
And you
know.
could introduce so much more history that kind of you couldn't include in the movies.
or
right.
even
You
in
know?
the books,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Like if J.K. Rowling was actually part of the writing
Yeah.
team to actually create like far more extensions of
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
it would be amazing.
I think we should tweet to her about this idea instead of doing like other spin-offs that are just not as good.
Yeah, I think we should do it. We should recommend this.
Yeah,
as
I'll
an
send her this
idea.
episode link. Hey,
Yeah.
JK,
What's up?
here's my idea, JK.
Check it.
Oh, I have another one.
Oh yeah.
I think Jack Black's School of Rock would be a really good TV show.
What?
Really?
It's just young people in a band going to tour and they're dealing with like real adult people. Come on, it was so funny.
No way. It
Are you
was
serious?
just the film ended and end. Like
Yeah,
there's
it had a very-
I love
nothing
to
more
watch these
to
kids
it.
on tour and
had
it
a
would be
very
so funny.
limited, like that time in the kids' lives is very like they
No, guys.
they discovered rock
No,
and roll.
guys.
They played their big
Disagree.
concert.
No, man.
Disagree. No.
I
That
completely
wouldn't
disagree
be-
with you guys. I think it would be a great show. I would watch it.
It'll
would be
just be
so funny.
every episode Jack Black introducing them to a new genre.
That's-
Yeah.
Imagine
It'll be
what a
like Glee.
Imagine no, of course not. Shut up. No,
nice
take that
comparison.
back. Take that
Don't.
back.
So I'm glad you threw that down there. That was excellent.
These guys are children. It'd actually be a really good history class of like history of rock. Every episode they take a new.
You just took the fun out of School of
Oh,
Rock.
fine. It's
Right
cool.
there.
You did.
God damn, guys.
Totally.
Maybe I'm not pitching it right.
Why
I think
don't
it
you
would
like
totally
pitch it
work.
at JB?
Oh, I'll
After
try.
JK.
I'll try. I'll try.
I have a idea which movie might be good as a TV show. Pulp Fiction. No? Yes? Yes?
I
no?
like it a lot as a movie.
I like it
Because
so much
those
as a
characters
movie.
are so rich, you can have like Lost. You can have like I want to see an episode with just Samuel L. Jackson and John Travolta doing their thing. I want to see an episode with just the Uma Thurman character. I want to see
but you
Butch
know,
the
the
Boxer.
thing
A
is,
3-part franchise I would be okay with, but like a TV
yeah,
just too much.
I wouldn't mind like a Fleabag, like a 6-part series or something. But the thing is, the reason Quentin Tarantino's work is just so sharp, right? And it's like you get a great tease of all these like
Yeah.
characters, and the fact that there's nothing that you know about them is what adds such value to that character. You don't really know like Samuel L. Jackson's
it's
real,
a
like,
story that
backstory.
works because of the brevity of it. Because if it was a meandering TV show, I feel like all of the characters would lose some of their sharpness and where the plot goes.
Okay.
Disagree.
Disagree.
Oh, I have one that I think would absolutely not work
Which one?
as a TV show.
Yeah.
Actually, no. Let me think about it again. Game of Thrones, this is what I'm thinking. It works great as a TV show.
Yeah.
It worked great as books. Okay. But think of it as a movie where it's a 3-part series or whatever. Okay. We don't have to see meandering stories about characters we do not care about. We're just focusing on the 3 people, like, Khaleesi, Jon Snow, Tyrion.
The way you're explaining it, it kind of seems like what Marvel is doing with their movies. One character gets
Correct.
an entire movie,
Correct.
and then the Avengers, they all
I
come
love
together.
that idea. I think it
That's
would totally
actually
work as a
interesting,
4-part series. So we don't have to watch other unnecessary characters, man. There's so much.
Maybe,
There's
yes.
so much plot in the books, which has already been cut down to TV show, which I
Right.
find great. But I feel like the TV show is also, while amazing and I love it, still meandering and could work as a really short, a movie
4-part,
series.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah. I
Film
would totally watch
franchise.
it.
Yeah.
There would be more budgets. It would look amazing. It would have some great highlights, guys. Think about it.
I was thinking the before sunset, before sunrise, before midnight
Yes.
movies. They're very tailored to a movie. They're very tailored to
As a TV show, it'd be-
time bound. As
Oh,
in
you're
the-
saying it would not work as a
It
TV
would
Yeah, it
not
wouldn't
work
work as a
because the second one, Before Sunset, is set in real time. That's the whole
Yeah.
idea of it. And even Before Sunrise is about one night
Right.
the 2 people spend. So as a TV show, it would get repetitive. And I don't know if I want to know about these characters once they're done with that brief meeting,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
It makes sense if the movies were
Sorry.
made with a very long gap in between them. So it's like revisiting where those characters are now.
No, yeah.
But with a TV show, I don't know if I want to watch them week in and week out.
Yeah, I don't want to watch them doing their own thing in their
Exactly,
life.
yes.
No, yeah, I agree with you completely. Before sunset, before sunrise, that time that they both
Yeah.
have with each
Yeah.
other is so unique, and it was different, and you sort of follow them on this little
Yeah.
adventure, when they first meet each other and then they meet each other
Right.
how many ever years
Yeah.
later, and it's nice that. I think I agree with you. It fits perfectly, and if I had to see more, it would ruin it.
Yeah.
It would. I don't want to know more.
I think I agree that would not work as a TV show, but unpopular opinion, I don't think it works as great movies, guys. They are just okay.
Okay,
They were
then.
just. I just
I'm
did not
not
see the
even-
charm in it. I just don't get it.
You know what? I'm just not.
That's a different podcast.
Yeah.
All
That's a
right,
whole
all right.
podcast.
Fine, you guys don't want to engage with me about this conversation. Fine.
No, we're not, because it's about stuff we like. We're not hating on this podcast, girlfriend.
I love the stuff that works in both, like TV shows that become movies and still work, like The Simpsons, for example.
Right.
Movies are great.
Oh,
TV
yeah.
show is great. TV show continues to do what it does, and it doesn't
Absolutely.
affect anything.
Success.
I love that. But again, that's because there's not a linear plot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Every
true.
episode is its own episode, so it's fine.
Has either of you seen Serenity, the Firefly
The movie?
Movie.
I
yeah.
haven't seen the movie. I've seen the show, obviously. I haven't seen the movie.
That's also one of those which works really well as a movie. and
Really,
it
I
works
really
well.
love it as a TV show so much. I feel like it's too precious.
Okay.
Because it got cancelled in one season.
Yeah,
you know?
and then-
it's like one of those really good Josh Whedon shows that I feel like deserve to make it. I don't know why it doesn't.
What about these, the Hulk or the Marvel or DC characters? If and I want the movie guys
Right.
to be on the TV show. I'd want to see would you want to see Thor the TV show?
The thing is, the comic books are exactly that. They're serialized.
That's what I'm saying. Why don't they
Stories.
work
My
as a TV
problem
show?
with doing superheroes, they're already multimedia because they're already in
That's
video
true, I
games, they're
get
already
that.
comics, they're already TV shows, they're already movies. I feel like it's too much. Just calm down.
I think
Too much. I cannot keep up with the universes of everything.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
the only reason they're not doing it as TV shows, I don't think Robert Downey Jr. would want to do television or Scarlett
Really?
That's
Johansson would
true.
want to do television. That's the only
That's
reason.
fine. You know what? Let's just recast him, man. Look, Benedict Cumberbatch works as a perfectly fine TV Sherlock, and Robert Downey Jr. is the movie Sherlock. I'm fine with it.
Oh, that's that way.
You know what I mean?
that.
It could be a different
Makes
cast.
sense.
Like the TV show could have a different person.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
they do change Spider-Man every other year.
Yeah,
They,
It's like a pageant.
yeah.
that is going to happen with
Pageant of
DC.
nerdy,
DC is going to have a different Flash for TV
Correct.
and a different Flash
I mean,
for TV
that's
show.
good because the TV show Flash is awful.
Oh, really?
Oh my God,
Okay.
The CW one. The show is not terrible. The Flash guy, the guy
Sharanya's
who
really in a
plays
mood
Barry.
to diss things.
Sorry.
Like,
I'm gonna take
screw
it back.
before
I am
sunrise.
shocked that she is like the main person on this show because she's the biggest hater in this office.
Oh my God! Again,
And
this is not true at all.
I'm not
I like
even
so
kidding.
much stuff, guys.
Yeah, congratulations on that one. Literally, the biggest hater does. Hey, it's Sharanya with IVM Likes. hate.
Screw Flash, but School of Rock should
Yeah,
be a TV show.
Jeez. One time,
I
like,
had some good ideas here, guys.
I have such respect for this girl. There's one moment I'm like, why do we have like School of Rock on the TV show? Oh, Abbas and I were like
Every
unanimously
episode will be a history
That-
lesson. Wow.
would be
Wow,
such
guys.
shit.
Wow. So like, you guys never have any bad ideas. Whatever.
Hello, hater. We're according to you, we're full of bad ideas. We diss one of our ideas, and she's like, whatever, guys. So maybe.
All right, fine. Let's not make the School of Rock movie. Whatever.
Movie nahi, TV
TV
show.
show. Let's not make the TV show. Whatever. It's fine.
Okay, so you just heard all the movies and TV shows that we think should not be or should be or whatever. If you guys want to get in touch with us at all, maybe give us your recommendations of stuff that you like. It's really simple. You go to IVM Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. We'll be back next week with more stuff that you should check out that we like.
Hey man, just help me out, man. I need some podcast, man. I haven't had a fix in a week. Just need some.
Don't you worry about it. I got podcasts galore for you, man. Just go to ivmpodcast.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Thanks, man. I'm gonna check it out.